It's brunch with Brian. Yay, we're back. And today it's National Notebook Day. National Notebook Day. So I want to talk about taking notes. Taking notes has been huge for me. In fact, you know what? If I had to say what one action step has made me successful, it's I'm a great note taker. Now, there's two components to this: taking the notes and then using the notes, applying the notes. So one of my favorite sayings is, not knowledge is power, but applied knowledge is power. So I want everybody to take a note. All right, so today we're going to take some notes because it's National Notebook Day. So notes have helped me immensely over the years. Sometimes I'll take one note, from a phone call or something that will be the crucial note that will make the deal happen. Or, so one of the most proximate way that you're going to use note taking in the real estate investing business is right when you hang up from your closing call. That's your 60 seconds of note taking time. All right. So you're going to hang up from you get into your opening call. Now, if you're doing your opening calls, this is a really good idea to do this after every call. So if you're doing opening calls or closing calls, take 60 seconds, put a little sand timer, get a little sand timer off of Amazon or something, and just flip it over and give yourself, 1 minute or 3 minutes to write notes. And I'm telling you, you'll be writing notes for 5 minutes after you hang up on a good call. There's a lot of things that get said, and you can try to take notes. It's kind of challenges to take notes during the call because you're reading the script. But remember, where do you take your notes in this business? On the closing call prep sheets. So when you're getting ready to make a call on any deal, you're going to have a closing call prep sheet next to you. Just print off like 20 closing call prep sheets or more because you're going to use them a lot. That's the form I probably want you using the most, and probably you're not using it. Okay, so go into your what to say and what to do system, go to the members website, log in and go to the forms folder and print off 20 closing call prep sheets. Now that's one of my favorite forms I've ever created, and that's where you take your notes. Because there's a little space for notes on your opening call sheet, but mostly that's filled with scripts, and little answers. You can't take copious notes on the opening call sheet. It's just not enough space. Okay, and you can't take notes on your closing calls. That's you're reusing those all the time. So where do you take your notes? You take them on the closing call prep sheet. So every call you make, especially your closing calls, especially the good ones, you should have gone through the closing call prep sheet and written some stuff on there before you call. So it's certain things are written on there, like what's the deal that you're going to pitch? What's your backup deal? What if they don't like that? What's your backup? What do you think the seller's hot buttons are? Sometimes those are very obvious. Sometimes you're not so clear, but you're going to write all this out before you call. Okay, so this is kind of funny because this is taking notes before you call. And then during the call, you're taking a lot of notes. So as much as you can, but I don't want you totally distracted and so busy taking notes that the rhythm, the momentum of the call kind of dies. Okay, you got to keep the momentum going. You don't want the seller to get bored. So you can't say, here, let me take a couple of notes. Wait, give me a couple of minutes here and just pause the conversation. No, just take the best notes you can in the rush of the call, but then take 60 seconds at least when you hang up and just scribble everything you can remember, and especially rapport building material, because that's what doesn't get written in the notes a lot of times. Like they have a daughter who's going to nursing school. Okay, so if you find a hot button and they say, well, we need a little cash to send our daughter to nursing school or whatever it is. I mean, that's the hot button. That's the most important thing. That's the most important note of all. So personal notes, not just deal notes. There's three kinds of notes. One is about the person, rapport building notes, background notes. And then some of them are about the deal. And then some of them are numbers, actual number notes. Like if anybody says a number, I want that number written. And here's another great little tip on taking notes. When a seller says something or a buyer says something, and I want to remember exactly how they said it, all right? Because this is the difference. What if you say, is that the best you could do? Okay, and you know you say, what would you sell me the house for? 100,000. Oh, is that the best you could do? Well, you know, maybe I have a little wiggle room. Okay, so that's one thing. What if they say maybe? Okay, but that's it. All right, so what if you just write maybe? Okay, so maybe doesn't give you the whole picture. You should write in quotation marks. I use quotation marks when I'm taking notes. I think I may have a little wiggle room. If you can remember exactly verbatim what they said, sometimes that's very important. So if they say something that's important, that I think is important, that I remember it verbatim, I call these verbatim notes. So I put little quotations around them and I write exactly what the seller said word for word. Sometimes that's really important to get the wording down, because they might say, you might get a hard no or a very soft no. But if you just write no in there, you know, you don't have the, you don't get the flavor of it. You don't get the nuance of the conversation. So sometimes there's some nuance to be caught in your notes. And so put quotations around them if you're getting exact wording. Okay, so notes, I'll tell you right now that probably the reason I'm successful is notes. That I always took, I learned how to take good notes in school. I always devoted myself to taking good notes. And when I got into real estate, I said, okay, I'm going to be a really good note taker. All right, let me check in what you guys are talking about, and then I'm going to show you my notebooks. I have some different notebooks that I use. So, hello. Hi, Brian. Thanks for all your efforts. I'm having a little trouble getting links to your previous Tuesday nights. Okay, Michael, just send me a email. Send an email to support@thewolfcouple.com. And guys, I will try to send you links. If you missed a past Teaching Tuesday, we do have links for those. Okay, Lynette. Hey, good to see you, Lynette. Applied knowledge is power. That's right. Not knowledge is power, like most people say. Guys, I have notebooks full of knowledge that I'm not applying. Okay, but if I'm applying it, then it's powerful. So applied knowledge is power. The Android note-taking app. Yes, guys, there's note-taking apps on your phone, which I want you to use. You know, there's notes on, you know, both Android and, you know, iPhones have note-taking capacities. So that's a really good point. You know, I take notes on notebooks, but I also take notes on my phone. So phone is very good for taking your notes. Good morning, KJ. How you doing? Great tips. Thank you, Isabel. And Caleb, of course. I like that point because I naturally do it in my notes. Exactly what the seller said. Yes, that's what I call verbatim quote. So what did they say verbatim? Meaning exactly what they said word for word. That's a good one. All right, so guys, I take notes now. I take notes on my phone, but I also take notes. I have two different size notebooks that I like. I like this size notebook sometimes when I'm at an event, or if I'm talking to a lot of people. Sometimes I use this when I'm on a Zoom. If I'm on a Zoom event and I'm sharing and everybody's talking about themselves, I always, on Zoom events, I got a new policy for Zoom events. I like to always open it up in the beginning, like for at least 10 minutes, and have everybody, you know, not everybody, but a bunch of people share what their background is and what their challenges are and what their goals are and what their why is. What's your why? Take a list. There's a good note. Write down a list of your whys. That can be extremely motivating. What's your number one reason? Do you want to quit your job? Do you want to leave a great legacy? Do you want to have passive income in your life so you have a better lifestyle? You know, what's going on with you? So now I will use a big notebook if I'm taking more extensive notes, if I'm actually attending an event or something where I'm writing notes, or if I'm reviewing an event. Like I recently looked at an 8-hour event and I took notes. Now, okay, for that one, I took them in my notebook. All right, so, I mean, on my computer. So I do take a lot of notes on my computer, just in Word files. So that's the other way I do it. Sometimes, you know, if I'm taking extensive notes and I want to work with the notes, it's easier if they're on a computer. Now, a notebook is nice, but you can't move the notes around. You can't, you know, you can't turn the notes into an email easily, or a training, you know, material or whatever. So I do like the computer, but I do like my old notebooks too. And here's the thing. Sometimes this is not a good way to take notes, is on loose leaf pages. Because if you don't have a good notebook, your stuff gets all over the place and it gets disorganized and your notes end up everywhere. Then you need a filing system. Oh my gosh, I'm getting more into notes than I thought. Guys, after you take your notes, what happens to them? You know, I mean, there's sometimes I will go through my notebooks. Like I can't say I always do this, and I'll tear out sheets and I'll stick them in my file system. Okay, I do have a paper file system with a lot of files of all sorts of different stuff. So sometimes I will go through my notebooks because your notebook is a lot of times a mess of all different notes. It's like this day I was taking notes on that, and this day I was taking notes on something totally different. So it's not organized the right way. Now, whereas you take notes in your computer and you can organize and you can stick them in the right files, they're easy to work with. So I guess I would probably recommend taking notes on your computer just because you can work with them, you can change them, you can update them, you can add to them very easily. And they're easier to convey to others. You know, they're easier to send an email or something like that. So I guess I would probably recommend, but that's hard to do when you're on the phone. So when you're making a call, that's when I want you to use your closing call prep sheets and just keep them in the file folder of that seller. Okay, so that's usually, you know, I like the computer. It's easier to work with the information, but I'm addicted to my notebooks too. I love my notebooks. Zoom on occasion would be cool. Yeah, guys, you know, I might do a Zoom on a brunch with Brian. What do you think? Would that be fun? I might try to do that. 1 month or 1 quarter. Yeah, I'm not sure. Good Teaching Tuesday this week. Thank you. Guys, don't forget those Teaching Tuesdays. I want you to always be checking those out. There's always a lot of great information. This week we talked about landlording and all the different cash flows of landlording. Now remember, if you're doing a straight landlord, that's got a lot less cash flows than if your exit strategy is rent to own or lease purchase. If you missed that one, I hate to promise this, but if you miss those, I do have a link that I can send you where you can listen to them if you want to request. But if you want to send something to support@thewolfcouple.com, I will try to send you the link to. The last three have been really good. There was one 3 weeks ago about breaking bad habits. And if you didn't hear that one and you got a bad habit or an addiction you want to get over, that was a really good one. Okay, I Zoom a month or a quarter, I meant. Okay. Okay, so guys, yes, maybe 1 Zoom per month. I get what you're saying there. So let me see about that. Let me see how hard that would be. I did that one from the studio doing the apple pie. If you didn't get that apple pie one on Monday, go back and watch that one. I was actually in the studio and I did a really cool demo with the apple pie. Now remember, you can go on YouTube and see them, or you can go back on the Facebook and watch these as well. All right, so that's what we're shooting for. Pattern interrupts. Yes. Okay, so guys, let's keep it rocking. Let's take great notes and just instill that policy. You know, implement that policy of taking 60 seconds after you hang up on any call and taking notes. Whether you take them, usually it's harder to do it in a computer when you're doing your real estate. That's when you're usually taking notes on your closing call prep sheets and putting them in the file, okay? Because then they stay pretty well organized. But you're not taking notes from your real estate in notebooks. That's sort of a different thing. All these little note-taking strategies is a little bit different. But guys, I got rich because I took great notes. That's the thing. Notes tell you what to do. You know, I mean, how do you live without notes? You know, and plus that's how you make advances. Oh, you love the studio. Good. Yeah, the studio is always cool. All right. So I will talk to you guys tomorrow. This was a really good one. Just take notes. What's our affirmation? I love taking notes. Taking notes means money. It does in this business. Taking a good note a good note helps you close the deal. If you have a good set of notes, if I get an opening call script with a closing call prep sheet and the closing call prep sheet is full of notes, I'm excited. I know I got something there. But if I get an opening call sheet with no closing call prep sheet and no real notes, then I don't know what I got. Okay, so that's the thing. Notes are valuable, precious, and make deals happen. So I love taking notes. Okay, ready? 3 times on 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. I love taking notes. I love taking notes. What do? I love taking notes. Yes, absolutely. Okay. So let's get excited about our notes and take those notes. Let's do our deep breathing. Nice deep breath in. You always join me with this now. Okay, another deep breath in. Always put a big smile on your face. This gets you going. This is invigorating every day. One more. Oh, that feels good. Now you should do this about 3 times a day, at least, not just with me, but other times during the day. It's invigorating. If you get little aches and pains or headaches, it can be cleansing. It can make you feel good. If you're hungry, it's good. It's a good pattern interrupt. I just love deep breathing. So deep breathing is a big plus. Okay, so love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Until then, keep taking action and keep taking notes. And keep expecting success and learning from the wolf couple. And I will see you guys tomorrow.